My name is Jack McKeon, and I'm here as a member of the New Jersey Storytelling Guild. And we are very happy, along with the cooperation of so many people, Watchung Booksellers, Montclair Music Studios, Terry Serendipity Cafe, the Park and Recreations Department, Marcia, Almeida over here, who pulled all this together for us. We're very happy to be here. This is certainly for me the first time since COVID set in that I've been out telling stories with people face to face. It's just such a normal thing to be able to do. The Guild, just a couple of words on the Guild. The Guild was started by Jerry Fierst, who's Montclair local, about how many years ago, Jerry? 30 years ago. It's been in Montclair since then. We've been meeting monthly at the Union Congregational Church on Cooper Avenue. We've been Zooming for the past year and a half. And certainly with the Zooms and with our face-to-face meetings when we get back to them, public is welcome. There's a sign-up sheet that was over there on this table. I don't know where the sign-up sheet went to.
Oh, behind me.
It's okay, over here. There's a sign-up sheet. If you can give us a name and an email address, we can let you know when our Zoom meetings are, and you are more than welcome to join us, to listen to stories, to contribute anything that you would like to contribute. Anything that I forgot here? The first meeting, thank you, Gene. The first meeting will be on November 7th at 7 o'clock in the evening. It will be a Zoom. If we get your email address, you will be notified about it, and more than welcome, as I say, to join us. Okay, we're going to get to some stories. And our first storyteller is me. And I'm going to tell, well, you haven't heard anything yet. Thank you in advance. Our first story, since this is about Harvest Tales, our first story is about a harvest that has gone wrong. And it's a story about yams. And I could use some help. What I need out there are people who are willing to be yams. Now, I know I have some yams here. It'd be nice if we had a yam or two on that blanket over there. Anybody who wants to be a yam, there's a yam over there. Okay, this is what you have to do to be a yam. When the time comes in the story, you have to say this. Ticky.
Ticky.
Picky.
Picky.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Ticky, picky, boom, boom.
Ticky, picky, boom, boom.
Good, we'll say that 3 times, and we're going to end with a boof. All right, perfect.
There's a yam here.
Okay, there's a yam. He knows the routine. Yeah, good.
What a yam.
Okay, you'll know when to come in. So this is a story from Jamaica, and it starts with Anansi the Spider. And if you're not familiar with Anansi, he is a trickster figure, very lazy, very greedy, very tricky, always trying to get people to do things for him. But on this particular occasion, when the rains came in Jamaica and it was time to plant, well, Anansi the Spider decided he had this big field and he was going to plant it all with yams. Now, yams are big root vegetables. They grow deep into the earth. But to his credit, he planted that whole field with yams. But when it came time to harvest the yams, he looked out at that field and he looked at his shovel. He said to himself, I can't do this. Who can I get to dig up these yams? He thought, Bra Tiger. Bra Tiger will do it for me. I know him. So he went over and he knocked on the door and said, come on. Hello, Bra Tiger. And Bra Tiger said, hello, Anansi. Now, he knew Anansi. Anansi had fooled him many times. What do you want? He said. I said, well, I have a whole field of yams. I want to get them dug up. And I wondered if you could do it for me. Why would I want to do that? Said Tiger. Well, you can have every other yam you dig up. You can have half the yams. Ooh, that sounds like a pretty good deal. Tiger didn't mind hard work, and he liked yams. So the next day, he got his shovel, and he got his machete, and off he went to Anansi's farm. And he began to dig, and he dug, and he dug, and he dug all around one yam. He tried to pull it up, but the yam wouldn't come up. And he dug deeper, and he dug deeper, and every time he dug deeper, it looked as if the yam was just kind of digging itself further and further into the ground. It wouldn't come up at all. So he went over and started with another yam, and started digging all around that yam, and dug and dug and dug, tried to pull it up, wouldn't come up. He did that for the whole field, spent all day digging up those yams, and Anansi must have put some kind of spell on him because he couldn't pull up a single yam. So when the day was over, he was pretty tired. He had nothing to show for his work, and Anansi had all the yams. He began to think, and he got angry. And he got so angry, he picked up his machete, and he went over to one of those yams, and whack, hit that yam, whack, hit that yam again, whack, 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 cut that yam all to pieces. He felt better. Put his shovel, machete on his shoulder, and off he went down the road. And he went a little way, and what was that? Heard something behind him. And he turned around, and he looked, and down the road came the yams. There was some on 1 foot, some had 2 feet, some had 3 feet, some had 4. And the sound that they made when they came down that street was, come on, yams, ticky-picky, boom, boom, ticky-picky, boom, boom, ticky-picky, boom, boom, boom. Tiger jumped, yams jumped, tiger ran, yams ran, tiger galloped, yams galloped, down the road he galloped, past Brother Dog's house. He looked up, there's Brother Dog on the veranda of his porch, and he ran up to Brother Dog, and he said, Brother Dog, hide me from the yams. Brother Dog said, I'll hide you, but don't you say a word. So Tiger kind of scrunched down and hid behind Brother Dog. Down the road, on the 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, came the yams. Ticky-picky, boom, boom, ticky-picky, boom, boom, ticky-picky, boom, boom, boom. Brother Dog? Yes, Brother Yam? Tiger been by here? Well, Brother Yam, you know, I can't rightly say that Tiger's gone by at all. But Tiger was so scared he couldn't resist. He said, don't tell him, Brother Yam. Don't tell him, Brother Dog. Don't tell him, don't tell him. And Brother Dog was so disgusted, he just turned and walked away. And the yams jumped, Tiger jumped. The yams ran, Tiger ran. The yams galloped, Tiger galloped. Down, he galloped, down he ran, down towards the lake. And there was Sister Duck with the ducklings. And he went up to Sister Duck and he said, Sister Duck, hide me from the yams that are coming. She said, I'll hide you, but don't you say a word. So Brother Tiger, he scrunched down real small behind Sister Duck to hide from the yams, and down the road came the yams. Ticky-picky, boom, boom, ticky-picky, boom, boom, ticky-picky, boom, boom, boom. Sister Duck? Yes, Brother Yam. You seen Tiger? No, Brother Yam. Can't seem to see Tiger anywhere. Tiger again, couldn't resist. Don't tell him, Sister Duck. Don't tell him, he said. Sister Duck just turned away, waddled away with her ducklings. The yams jumped, Tiger jumped, yams galloped, Tiger galloped, yams ran, Tiger ran, down by the river, down to the river, got to the river, and there was a bridge across the river. Across that bridge, there was Brother Goat. And Brother Tiger ran across that bridge and said, Brother Goat, hide me from the yams that are coming. Brother Goat said, you know what he said, I'll hide you, but don't you say a word. So he scrunched down behind Brother Goat, down through came the yams. The yams came right up to the edge of the bridge. They haul it out, Brother Goat, you seen Tiger? Now, Tiger, he just couldn't resist at all. Didn't give Brother Goat a chance to say anything. Said, don't tell him, Brother Goat, don't tell him. Those yams started across that bridge. Ticky picky boom boom, ticky picky boom boom, ticky picky boom boom, poof. Well, Brother Goat wasn't having any of that. This was his bridge. And he went right out on that bridge and wham, he butted those yams that way and wham, butted those yams that way. Turned around, kicked those yams, wham, that way, kicked those yams that way. Yet knocked those yams all to pieces, which just floated on the water. So Brother Goat and Brother Tiger, they picked up all the yams they could find. They made themselves a great pot of yam stew. And they ate it, and they didn't give a single spoonful to Anansi the Spider. Now, Tiger felt a lot better after all this. He had the yams, he'd sort of gotten back at Anansi, he'd escaped all that trouble. But still, even now, late at night, when everything is very quiet and there's no moon and everything is really dark, it seems to Tiger that he can hear coming down the forest path something that sounds like ticky picky boom boom, ticky picky boom boom, ticky picky boom boom, boof. Thank you. So our next teller has a storytelling group of her own, actually, called Steeped in Stories, something that you want to check out. Shirley Johnson.
Thank you, Jack. After me go poof. The story I would like to share with you in the harvest theme has to do with a Native American legend about an eagle and a farmer. I do sometimes call myself a bit of a farmer, and I've grown some vegetables with which I sometimes have luck, and these are my lucky ones, and sometimes don't have luck. For the same reason as this particular farmer, once upon a time, was having a trouble with his crop, growing his crop, because every time he planted, some critters would come around and mess with his crop. They'd feed on it and try to destroy it and just make a mess. But this farmer needed these crops for his living. He used them to feed his family, and he used them to take to the market so that he would have money to trade for other things for his family. So he was very discouraged because nothing was growing right. I had the same problem with some of my crops and critters that were coming around. Can you tell me what kind of critters, and not deer, I know there are deer in Montclair, but what kind of critters might have come around to mess with? Here we go, what kind of critter? A raccoon, yeah, they get their little fingers, they wipe their mouths. What other kind of critters might be around?
Rabbit.
A rabbit, yes, rabbits, raccoons, groundhogs. I had all those kinds of, this farmer had a big problem with crows and groundhogs and rabbits that came around to destroy his crop. But one day, the farmer saw an eagle in his field. Now when he went up to the eagle, it didn't fly away like it normally would. And when he got closer, he noticed that it didn't fly away because it couldn't fly away. One of its wings was injured. So the farmer was a kind man, and he wrapped the eagle's wing, and he put some special medicine on it and took care of it. Every time he fed his chickens, he would go over and feed the eagle. And he would feed his chickens and take care of that eagle. After a while, the eagle began to come whenever the farmer called for the chickens. That eagle would just come on up. Now, you must remember that the eagle is a majestic bird. It has strong wings, and it can fly and soar way up in the sky. And its huge wingspan is just so important for that eagle to soar. And it has beautiful feathers. It is very talented at catching its prey. Some of the very same kinds of creatures that were eating and destroying the farmer's crop. He was feared, that eagle, by many of those same kinds of animals. So the farmer noticed too that while that eagle was there on his farm, he was able to grow many more crops than he had been able to before, and the farmer began to grow rich and prosper while the eagle was on his farm. So he decided to cuff and chain the eagle so that he could continue to grow rich, and that eagle would still come over. Every time he fed the chickens, that eagle would come over. Pretty soon that eagle began to think it was a chicken. Well, that eagle would come on over, but he was getting better, and the eagle's wing began to heal. So the farmer took off the cuffs and the chains. And that eagle, whenever the farmer called the chickens, that eagle still came on over and fed with the chickens. Now, one particular day, while the farmer was feeding the chickens, a young boy came over and said to the farmer, "What are you doing feeding that eagle with those chickens? That's an eagle. He's not supposed to be with those chickens." And the farmer said, "That's no eagle. I have only chickens here. I am only feeding chickens here." And the boy went away. But as young curious boys are, the next day he came back and he had a talk with that eagle. He said, "What are you doing down there? You're an eagle. You're not a chicken. You're supposed to soar way up in the sky, like eagles do. You're not a chicken." And so the eagle thought about it. And the eagle tried at first. Rather clumsily, it struggled to try how to fly. And then it began to bounce up on the air. And it tried to stretch its wings, and it began to soar high above the sky, above the clouds, and fly. And then the farmer came back. He saw the eagle flying up in the sky. He yelled out to that eagle, "What are you doing up there? Come down, you're a chicken. Chickens aren't supposed to fly." And the eagle came down, thinking that the farmer was right, and again began to feed with the chickens. The farmer continued to grow rich, and the eagle continued to think he was a chicken. Moral of the story: it's not the chains that control your body and your mind, but it's your mind. So never let anyone get into your mind. Only you know what you can and can't do. Be as important as you can be. Thank you. Our next storyteller, a fabulous storyteller, I can vouch for that. We have Miss Paula Davidoff. I know you'll love her storytelling as I do.
Yes, you can put it in the
So my story is about the moon. And if you wonder why it's a harvest story, just remember that harvesters of every ilk have consulted the moon before they plant and gather. So it happened a long, long time ago, and this is true, that the Lincolnshire in the east of England, the land there was mostly swamp and marshes. It was covered with black pools of dead water, with sluggish green streams, and with quivering bogs, which would suck in any creature that happened to step on them. So you can imagine that in those days, it was dangerous to cross the marshes of Lincolnshire, even for people who knew where the safe paths were in the daytime. But at night, trying to cross those marshes was a matter of life and death. Because in the dark, the evil creatures who lived in the marshes came out. The witches and the bogles, the snitches and the creeping horrors, the dead hands and the will-o'-the-wisps, and they tried to lure benighted travelers to their deaths in those pools and bogs. And in those days, the only friend that a traveler caught at night in the marshes had was the moon. Because in her full and gibbous phases, she would light those safe paths almost as clearly as day. And those evil creatures were afraid of the moonlight even when there was just her thinnest crescent shining in the sky. But, as you know, the moon doesn't shine every night, and in fact, there are 3 nights every month when she remains hidden. And on those nights, the evil things had a heyday. They would come right up to the edges of the villages and try to make what mischief they could. But the moon heard about all of the bad things that happened when she was resting, and she decided that she would go down to the marshes to see if things were really as terrible as everyone said. And so one night, near the end of her month, she wrapped herself in a dark cloak. She pulled a hood over her shining hair, and she went down to the marshes. And it was dark. It was so dark that the only light at all came from the glow of her toes when they would peep out from under her garment. But she was brave, and she had, after all, come to see how bad things would really be. And so she began to step as lightly as a summer breeze from tuft to tuft across the marsh, until she stepped on a stone that turned under her foot, and she would have fallen into one of those dead, deep pools if she hadn't reached for a snaggy branch that was growing right over the pool. But as soon as her 2 hands clutched that branch to save herself, a vine that was growing on it wrapped around her wrists as tightly as handcuffs. And no matter how much she struggled, she couldn't free herself. Well, when the evil things saw that their old enemy was held prisoner there, they all came out and gathered round her, hooting and poking, and who knows what might have happened if there hadn't arisen a cry of terror over the marshes, a cry followed by a sob of despair. And the moon realized that some traveler had been led from the safe path and was lost in the darkness. And that realization made her so angry that she struggled even more. She struggled so hard that finally that hood fell back from her hair, and in that instant, the marsh was illuminated by moonlight. And the traveler gave a cry of relief and made his way back to the safe path. And of course, all of the evil things went slithering off into the shadows. And so the moon continued to struggle, to try and free herself. She struggled harder and harder, and this time, in her struggle, the hood fell back over her hair, and darkness prevailed. And then those creatures crept back out, and they surrounded the moon, and they began to talk about how they could get rid of her forever. "We'll poison her," said the witches. "No." "We'll drown her," said the Bogles. "Strangle her," said the dead hands. "Smother her," said the horrors. And you know what it's like when the ghouls start arguing with each other? Like, no faction listens to any other one, and they just keep saying the same thing over and over, on and on. And so it went with this conversation until the dawn broke gray in the east. And then the evil things, afraid of being caught in the daylight, quickly ordered the vines to release the moon. The Bogles pushed her under the water. The dead hands held her there, while some other ghouls grabbed a big oblong stone and pressed it on her so she was stuck. And then they told two will-o'-the-wisps to keep guard while the rest of them hid in the shadows. Now, the time for the new moon came, and the villagers around the marshes started to prepare for her appearance. And they put bright pennies in their pockets, and they put straws in their hats, and they began to go out in the evening to look for the appearance of the new moon. But of course, the moon didn't appear, because she was buried deep down in one of those pools in the marshes. Well, a couple of days of darkness passed, and then the evil things, why, they became so bold that they went right into the villages. And it was so bad that the villagers, well, they were afraid to sleep at night because they were afraid if their fires went out, that things would come right into the house. And so, after a couple more days of darkness, a group of villagers went to consult the wise woman who lived in the old mill. They asked her if she knew where their moon might be. And she looked in her mirror, and she looked in her book, and she looked in her brew pot. And then she looked up and said, "It's all dark. I don't know, but do what I tell you. Go home, and on your thresholds, scatter salt and broom straws and buttons to keep out the evil things. And then talk to each other and listen to each other. And when you hear something, come and tell me, and I'll look again." Well, they went home and did what the wise woman said, and they talked. Oh, you can believe they talked. They talked over fences, they talked in the market, they talked in the taverns, and one night when they were talking, a stranger from a village across the marsh exclaimed, "Oh, I think I know where the moon may be." And he told the story of how he had been benighted in the marsh, and how he had been saved by a bright light that lit his path. But he said, "I was so feared and amazed that I never stopped to think where the light was coming from." Well, the people went right away back to the old wife, and they told her what they had heard. And again she looked in the book, and again she looked in the pot, and this time she said, "I know where you can find your moon, but you must do just as I say. Tonight, go in to the marsh. Walk on the safe path, single file. Put a stone under your tongue. Carry a hazel twig in your hand. And do not speak a word until you're back home safe. Walk the path and look for a candle, a cross, and a coffin. And when you find those three things together, you will have found your moon." Well, that night, the bravest of the villagers gathered on the edge of the marsh. Each one had a stone under his tongue to remind him that he was of the earth. Each one carried a hazel twig in his hand to protect him against the evil. And off they went, single file, And oh, it was dark. And they could hear the rustling and the slithering and the grasses around them. They could hear the howls and the shrieks of the wild things that were flying around. They could feel the dead hands pull at their garments, but they walked on. And every time they passed a dead pool, they looked, until finally they saw a titty light, like a flicker of a candle flame. And when they looked closer, they saw that it was over a twisted gnarl that looked like a cross. And under the cross was a great oblong rock, looking for all the world like a coffin. Well, when they saw that, they stopped. And each one of them, in their heart or in their mind, but silently, said a prayer, forward because of the cross, backward because of the bogles. And when the prayers were said, they stepped forward and lifted that great rock. And for an instant, they saw deep down in the pool a strange and beautiful face looking up at them. And in the next less than a second, the full moon was shining in the sky, lighting the safe way home. And there she remains, to remind us that after the darkness, there will always be light. Thank you. So our next storyteller is new to the Guild, and I am so excited to hear him tell Somesh Charbani.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you enjoying all the stories thus far?
Yeah.
So we heard Jack, we heard Shirley, we heard Paula, but I did not hear a big applause. I'll share with you two things before I share this folktale. The first, stories are powerful, right? They are so powerful they can stop the rain. It also transforms adults into childhood. Talking about children, a new way of clapping. If you can put the cell phones down and clap with me. Very good, yay! Very good, yay! Once more, very good, yay! Great. And the second thing which I want to share, as Paula said, I'm a newbie to this group, so I'm learning from Jack and Shirley and Jane, everyone. But the second thing is, the story is about snake. Are you afraid of snake?
Yes.
Me too. So I just wanted to give you an advance notice, this story is about snake. Long time ago, in the southern place of Indonesia in Asia, not far from the seashore, was a famous village by the name of Kochi. Now, this village, Kochi, had beautiful open fields. It had beautiful people, such as the audience here. And children used to play in the fields. The men were farmers. They used to go and grow fruits and vegetables. And there were also men who were fishermen. They used to go and walk half-mile down to the seashore, take their nets and catch fish. But this village, Kochi, had a big problem. There was a dangerous snake in the village, a king cobra. And this snake used to love harassing people, scaring the children. And he has also bitten a lot of children in the past. This snake used to come out in the afternoon when he saw the children were playing. And he used to come out from different directions from the forest. And as he came out, he used to show his fangs and then scare them with a hiss. The children were afraid. As they came out to play, they used to run back home, complain to their parents, "We can't play. But the snake was so persistent in disturbing not only the children but the fishermen, that when they used to go in the morning to catch the fish and they had to walk through the seashore, he used to go and stand in the path and also scare them. And there were days when they didn't go to catch the fish and they couldn't feed their families. So the villagers decided, we must do something about the snake. But we don't have the courage to go and fight with him. He comes from different directions. He scares us. Sometimes it's a roller coaster day. So they decided to meet a wise holy saint. Now this saint came from the north of Indonesia and he was passing through various villages. And they had the opportunity to consult him. So the head of the village went to him and said, "Oh, holy saint, respected sir, we want to do something about this snake. He's made a big chaos in this village. We have beautiful farms, we catch the fish, but he disturbs the children. He has made his life a hell." This old saint, very wise, listens to the villagers and says, "All right, tomorrow afternoon, I shall meet my new friend, the snake." So the saint, next day in the afternoon, goes to the field, but the villagers are scared. They say, "We are not going to come and face that cobra. You go alone." So the saint walks alone in the field, and very calmly, he puts both his hands back and waits for his new friend to arrive. He waits, and slowly he listens to the crackling noise of the leaves on the ground and some hissing noise, and this cobra snake comes out. And he looks at the saint furiously, shows his fangs, hisses back again. But the saint is in a very calm posture, and he speaks to the snake in the snake language by saying, "Hello, my friend. You are such a beautiful creation of God. Why are you here to trouble little children and kids? I heard you even trouble the adults, the fishermen, the farmers. What fun do you derive out of troubling others? I've heard you even hurt others." The snake looks at the saint and understands he is not an ordinary saint because he can speak my language. And the snake tries to scare him further by saying, "Oh, holy man, move back. Go away from the village you have come. I can bite you, I can eat you, so go away." But the saint immediately chants some magic words, and the snake calms down. The snake slowly bestows upon the saint and says, "Your master, I am ready to obey you. Thank you for coming and meeting me." And the saint tells the snake, "Look, my friend, the universe is beautiful. Let the children play. You enjoy in the forest. You can be around, but do not harm people. Do not harm the children. Do not come and bite others. Live and let live." So the snake obeys the master and says, "Oh master, I shall do as you instruct me, and from today I will not harm anyone." So the saint goes back, the villagers are happy, and next day the children are ready to go out and play. And as they go out in the open fields and they are ready and they are playing, they see the snake coming out. Of course, they are a little scared. But they observe the snake comes out and he is just waiting at one spot. He neither shows his fangs, he neither hisses. So some of the children start throwing some small pebbles at the snake. The poor snake does not move. He reminds himself, I have to obey to my master. He's a holy saint. He taught me, do not harm people, do good. So days pass by, every day the children come and see the snake. Now, they start throwing bigger stones at the snake. And some of them go and hit the snake with sticks. So much so, some adults kick the snake. Now the snake is bleeding. His skin is torn out. But he does not neither hiss or he neither bites. And he slowly goes back to his hole. And this continues for many days. A few weeks later, the old wise man, the saint, passes by again. He's going back to his home. And he says, let me go and meet the villagers and ask them, what is the situation? And as he goes, he understands. They are very happy. They come and tell the saint, respected sir, you have done wonders. Did you cast some spell on that snake? Here is some food and sweets for you. They serve him with delicious sweets and food. But he realizes immediately at the spur of the moment, they are so happy. What's happened to the snake? Let me go and visit my friend. So the saint goes again at the outskirts of the fields, under the tree, and waits for the snake. And as the snake comes out, this time very slowly, crawling like a snail, blood wounds on top of him, with his skin torn away, the saint looks at him and is surprised. He asks the snake, oh my dear friend, what happened to you? You look weak. Have the villagers beaten you up? The snake tells the saint, my master, thank you for coming and meeting me. Don't worry, I've just not eaten food for many days. I am all right. The saint looks at the snake and says, I know you are not telling the truth. And the snake narrates to him the entire incident of how they beat him up, they kicked him, they threw stones at him. And the saint, after hearing all this, told the snake, I had told you, be good, do not do harm, but I never said do not hiss. I never said do not show your fangs. And he told the snake, outskirts of this village there are so many coconut trees. You know that coconut? Be like that coconut in life. Because life is full of good people. We have to do good. But don't let people take advantage of your goodness. So be like a coconut. Hard from the outside and soft from the inside. Thank you.
Yay! Yay! Very good, very good.
Yay! Very good, very good. Yay. Now, Jack, I forgot the name of the next speaker.
The next
You'll have to come
It's
and
going to be Dave Candido playing guitar again, but Marcia is going to speak
Marcy.
first.
Hi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. And thank you very, very much for coming and being here with us. 3 months ago, Jack, Jerry, and I sat on that table, and we were planning to do something for the community to give back and for them to know us. As it happened, New Jersey Storytelling Guild is one of the biggest secrets in town. A lot of people don't know that we're here. But we are. And our membership is made up of a storyteller, a story lover, a storyteller professional, and a storyteller wannabe like me. And I am really grateful that our storytelling professionals that are the cream of the crop that are here today are giving Jean Alter and myself the opportunity to co-chair the Guild for the next year. So this is our opening ceremony. Yes. And I want to say thank you to the Watchung bookseller, Montclair Music Studio, the Township of Montclair for allowing us to use the space, Dave, which is, he volunteered without me having to push or twist his arm. When I asked him, he said, I'll do it. And I said, but I want to beg a little bit. And he said, you don't have to. So here's Dave. Dave.
Going to begin with a wonderful storyteller, wonderful lady, also part of Steeped in Stories. Again, you want to check this out, and when you hear it, you're going to want to know why. Or you will know why you want to check this out. Vicki Bryan.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everyone. So I don't fall over it. All right. I have a question to ask you. Have you ever suffered from the frustration? You know, I mean, when there's something deep in your heart that you've always wanted to do, but circumstances or other people have gotten in your way. I mean, short term, long term, it doesn't matter. Well, raise your hand if you've ever been frustrated. All right then, you will be able to relate to my story, because this story is about some serious frustration. You see, it takes place way, way, way long ago, back in the motherland, when animals walked and talked on this earth like we humans do. Now, I want you to focus on a little creature. A frog. Let's call him Froggy. Well, Froggy was mighty, mighty, mighty feeling bad, mighty sad, mighty frustrated. Why? Well, Froggy, he wanted to be a singer. Yes, deep in his heart, he had this burning desire to sing. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a frog, and there's nothing wrong with being a singer, howsoever. In this specific forest, frogs did not sing. Only the birds sang. But Froggy, he was determined and had this burning desire in his heart. He would practice every day on his little lily pad, just singing and singing. And one day, he worked up the courage to tell his parents about his life dream. Now, his parents, like all parents do, they kind of looked at him and nodded, and they were a bit concerned, like parents are when their children decide to do something outside of the norm. But he was their only child, and They loved him and they gave him their blessing. Oh, Froggy was so happy. He was so elated, he just hipped-hopped off across the pond to visit his friends in the lily pad, and they were just, just chilling and what have you, like frogs do. And he said, I got something to share with you. It's really important. And his friend said, Rivet, wonderful, wonderful. You got some flies for us to eat? Share. Rivet. No. I want to be, no, I'm going to be a singer, said Froggy. What you say? He want to be a singer? Frogs don't sing, you stupid. And they started laughing at him. Froggy felt really bad. And he went back to his little pad. And he sat there and he did a little meditation, a little contemplation about his situation. And he decided that he didn't have to depend on those old birds, those old frogs, anybody. What he could do was he could go see the birds. Because the birds seemed like they were reasonable creatures, and they had a singing group. So he goes over to the big tree where the birds hung out. And he wanted to see the head bird in charge. He said, hey, get me the head bird in charge. And the head bird said, ooh, hi, Froggy. What you want? Froggy said, I want to join your group. Oh, wonderful. And all the other birds went, oh, wonderful. He can carry our worms. That's not quite what I had in mind. I want to sing with your group. What he say? Oh no, you're ugly, you're slimy, you're green, you're covered with warts. Oh, now out! Poor Froggy. He went back to his little lily pad and sat there. He was so sad. He felt so rejected. Then he had an idea. The birds don't control everything. I'm going to contact Brother Fox. Brother Fox is sponsoring the Harvest Festival Jamboree. And I'm going to ask if I could sing. So he goes over to see Brother Fox. Now, Brother Fox, he's cool, but he's busy, getting stuff together for the jamboree. Oh, yeah. He doesn't have time for foolishness. Hey, Brother Fox, it's me, Froggy. I want to ask you something. Can I sing at the Harvest Festival? Brother Fox said, what? Say what? You want to sing? Frog, go away, don't bother me, I'm busy. Froggy said, please, and he began to plead his case. I just want a chance. I want a chance, just one chance to show people I can do my thing. Just give me one chance, please. Brother Fox said, okay, you begging. All right, tell you what, show up Friday at about 7:30-ish, and I'll put you on at 8 o'clock. Okay, now go away. Froggy went hopping away. Oh, he was so delighted. He was so happy. But in the meantime, Brother Fox, he went into the forest and he told all the other animals, guess what's going to happen on Friday? The old stupid frog is going to try to sing. Come on, y'all. Everybody do us. Let's just watch him. This should be really good. Well, Tuesday went by, Wednesday went by, Thursday, Friday went by. All this time, Froggy is practicing his little heart out. Friday comes, and he takes his little green frog bath. Watch his little green fingers and little green toes, and he even parts his hair in the middle and puts a little hair gel in it, kind of get those waves going. And he goes on off to the Harvest Festival Jamboree. Now, 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock. Where's Froggy? No one could find Froggy. Froggy is standing on the stage. He's backstage, hiding behind a curtain. He is petrified. He is trembling. His little green legs are just shivering back and forth. Because he looked out at the audience and he saw the entire place was full, every seat. Oh, he didn't know what he was going to do, but he had to, because this was his big chance. 8 o'clock. All of a sudden, the spotlight hits the stage, and out comes Brother Fox. Welcome, welcome everyone to the Harvest Festival Jamboree. Have we got a treat for you this evening? I present to you Froggy the Singer. A Froggy the Singer. Froggy comes out. He's a little shaky. He gets up to the mic. I'm going to sing. My first tune is. Before he could finish the sentence, an elephant jumped up in the audience, picked an apple off of a tree, and threw it at Froggy's head. Then the monkeys joined in. They started throwing stuff at Froggy. Oh my goodness, the rhinoceros, the zebra, pigs, dogs, cats, goats, you name it. They was throwing stuff. Boo, 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 you ugly frog. Boo, boo, you wart-covered thing. You can't sing. Get off the stage. Boo, boo. Froggy was a ducking, and he was a bobbing. And he finally made it to his little hidey place under the stage. Oh, he was petrified. He didn't know what to do. In the meantime, Brother Fox goes to the stage and says, chill everybody, chill. Be calm, that was just a joke. Just a little comedic diversion. Now I'm going to introduce to you the real singers. I present the birds. And out come the birds. Oh, flashing and showing their feathers. Oh, and they were posing like they were statues. Oh, so elegant. And they were trilling and tweeting and trilling and tweeting until everybody fell into hypnotic, sleep-like trance. In the meantime, Froggy's under the stage having a hissy fit. Oh, how could they do this to me? How could they do this to me? Treated me like trash. I don't know what's going on. They took advantage of me. They used me as a joke. And he's getting himself all worked up. Where's that Brother Fox? Where's that Brother Fox? He found Brother Fox, wrapped his little green hands around Brother Fox's neck, and began to shake Brother Fox so hard, he was shaking the snot out of him. Brother Fox was like, let me go, let me go, let me go, hey, you're just a joke, just can't you take a joke, just let me go on the stage, you want to sing, go sing, go on the stage and sing, it's all right, just let me go. Well, Froggy dropped him, then Froggy went up to the mic. He was still afraid, but he was determined, because to sing was his life's dream, and he started. Hippity hop, hippity hop, hippity hop, hippity hop. One hop to the front, oh yeah. One hop to the back, oh yeah. One hop to the right, oh yeah. One hop to the left, oh yeah. Shake your head, oh yeah. Shake your tail, oh yeah. Hippity hop, hippity hop. Well, the elephant opened up one eye. Then he opened up the other eye. Then he jumped in the air, began swinging his trunk like he didn't care. And then the lion jumped up, gave a mighty roar, and he joined the elephant on the floor. The monkeys started swinging from the trees. The zebras, goats, and pigs, and rhinoceros, and giraffes all got on the dance floor. And they were joining in the tune. Hippity hop, come on, join me, hippity hop. One hop to the right, oh yeah. One hop to the left, oh yeah. One hop to the front, oh yeah. One hop to the back, oh yeah. Shake your head, oh yeah. Shake your tail, oh yeah. Hippity hop, hippity hop. Let's get one. Hop to the front, oh yeah. Hop to the back, oh yeah. Hop to the right, oh yeah. Hop to the left, oh yeah. Shake your head, oh yeah. Shake your tail, oh yeah. Hippity hop, ah, hippity hop. Well, it got so good in there that Brother Fox jumped up on the stage. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That Froggy can sure sing. This is the first time I saw all the animals united and moving as one. Yeah. Well, from that time forward, anytime you wanted to hear Froggy sing, all you had to do was go down to Brother Fox's big time Friday night concert, and there would be Froggy. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard tell that's how line dancing got started. Right there at the Harvest Festival Jamboree. Oh, hippity hop, hey, hippity hop. And I would like, thank you.
Well, thank you for that compliment. Wonderful afternoon. What a pleasure, Jack. You're right, to be here with people. And how wonderful Watchung Plaza has been. The Parks and Recreation Department, Marcia, thank you for making all of this possible. And Dave, and I believe the Serendipity Cafe gave us the sound equipment? Yes. You know, thank you all for making this possible. This is Bianca. We live down the block. Bianca is the mayor of Watchung Plaza. And so she comes along to all the events that are here at the plaza. Every week there's been music, right? Yeah. So please come back and enjoy the fall. I'm going to tell you a classic Jewish story. There's some iconic stories you come on and you just sort of, they become yours. And this is one, and when Jack and Marcia said do a Harvest Festival, it was, oh, I'm going to tell the Baal Shem Tov and the werewolf. And that's because, well, the Baal Shem Tov was a Hasidic master from 500 years ago who went from town to town, shtetl to shtetl, telling stories. And the women and children would gather around and people would mock him because they said, what are you, just a storyteller? And he said, if you teach the women and children, you teach the world. And he believed that song and dance lifted your prayers up to heaven. So when he was a boy, Eliezer was his father, Baal Shem Tov, Israel, the son of Eliezer. His father lay dying. His mother had already died. He was going to be left an orphan. And Eliezer called the young Israel to him and said, child, when you are alone, know that though there is evil in this world, so long as your heart is good and you remember the name of God, your prayers will rise to heaven and you will be safe. And Eliezer died. And the boy was taken in by kindly villagers and they sent him to school. But the boy wasn't interested in school. Every time the teacher would turn his back, the boy would slip from his desk and run out the door, out to the trees, into the fields, and the teacher would have to go and bring him back and sit him down and say, study. But the boy wasn't interested. Instead, he would wait for the teacher to turn away again, and then he would run, until at last the teacher said, let him go. And that is how the boy Israel went to live in the wild places. He slept in the mossy banks, he ate the cherries from the bush. He would take the branches of trees and wave them above his head like flags and sing and dance. And all the world loved him, and he heard the language of the birds and the beasts, and his voice and song went up to heaven. Now it was his fate, when he was 12, to return to the world of humankind, to the little village of Harundaka. And there, the villagers gave him the task of gathering the children and leading them to school. And knowing the lessons that he had learned in the wild, he took the children through the fields and taught them to weave garlands of flowers for their hair. He took them into the forest and taught them to wave the branches like flags and to sing and dance, and their songs rose up to heaven. And the Messiah, he whose time has not yet come, rose up on one arm, and hearing the voices of the children said, "It is time, it is time." And Satan, the devil, seeing about to happen which should not be, went before the throne of the Almighty and said, "It is this boy who makes this happen. Let me strive against him." And God said, "Strive." And the devil came down to the surface of the world. He tried to turn the beasts of the world, the insects of the world, the snakes of the world, against the boy. But none of nature would harm this child. And then, and this is how the story goes, there was a woodcutter that lived not far from Harundaka. And this woodcutter was cursed with a terrible curse. For when the moon was full, hair would grow upon his body, and he would fall on all fours, and he would become a wolf. And run through the forests. And the villagers would shut their shutters and close their doors until at last at dawn, the werewolf would fall under a bush and turn to human form. And that is how Satan found him, lying there asleep. And Satan took his devil's claw and thrust it into the body of the man, into the chest of the man, to the heart of the man, and pulled forth the human heart, and in its place put the heart of evil. That dark heart that absorbs all light. And that day, when the boy Israel gathered the children and led them through the fields, singing, dancing, weaving garlands for their hair, as they approached the line of trees where the forest begins, suddenly out from the trees came the werewolf. And the children screamed and ran. And when the parents heard, they said, "You can never go there again." But the children said, "Please." And the boy Israel said, "It was a wolf that ran from the trees, and it is gone." And so the parents relented. And then the boy gathered the children to him and said, "My father has told me that so long as your heart is good and you remember the name of God, you will be safe. Follow me and do not fear." And so once again they went into the fields. And now as they approached the line of trees, the monster came, and evil had made him grow to enormous size. His shoulders stretched from horizon to horizon. Bloody vapors issued from his mouth and his nose and blotted out the light of the sun. But the children did not run. They stood and watched as the boy Israel marched forth, forth, forth into the body of the beast. Entering into the body of the beast, he put forth his arm and took the heart of evil in his palm and pulled it forth. And when he looked at it, it fluttered like a bird with a broken wing. And the boy pitied it. And the boy understood that all the evil of the world is nothing more than self-loathing. And the boy put that heart upon the ground, and the earth opened wide, and it sunk deep down in, and the earth closed over it. And it said that from the time, a sweet, sad song rises up from that spot. Now it was the fate of that boy Israel to go forth into the world to become the great master, the Baal Shem Tov, the master of the good name. And when he was gone, the children of Arundhaka, they became like their parents. Their eyes always cast down, never looking up. But I have told you the tale. Go forth. Look up. And sing and dance. Take the leaves of the trees and wave them above your hair like colored banners. Your voices will rise up to heaven and bless this world with the joy of creation.
And they may laugh and they might tease you, and they will take you by the hand, and on a good day they will feed you ravioli right out of the can. Angels may come and stand around you, and if you don't chase them away, you're sure to go home with the feeling this is your lucky day. And they will laugh and they will tease you, by the hand, and on a good day they will feed you ravioli